There are a ton of reasons new freelance writers don't make forward progress. Not knowing what niche to choose, not knowing if you're a good enough writer, but one of the biggest ones is not knowing what business structure to create, the legalities of starting a business. And in today's video, we're gonna tell you exactly what you need to do, or more importantly, what you don't need to do in order to start a freelance writing business online right now, today. Let's go, roll the intro. All right, did we come in a little hot with the intro there? Did get a little excited? All right, I'm sorry. I'll try and tone it down while still being moderately entertaining, because business structure isn't exactly a sexy topic. But like I said, it's one of the biggest roadblocks people have, and it's one of the most important things you need to know before you get started. But don't worry, there's good news. It's not nearly as complicated as you think. So let's just answer the question right now. Do you need to formally start a business? Do you need to formally get a business license to start your work as a freelance writer? The answer? Well, before I tell you the answer, I have to also say, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA. All the information I'm giving is just for informational purposes only. So you should go check with someone that officially knows what they're talking about before you go any further. But I feel pretty good about the advice that I'm going to give here. So do you need a business license to get going? The answer is no, you don't. By default, if you were just to say, get your first freelance writing client tomorrow, and then next week they paid you for that work, by default, you're what's called a sole proprietor. That's it. That's a type of business. Let's say you decide to start this business with another person. You don't have any formal agreement. You just decide, hey, we're going to start this business together. You are, by default, a partnership. And when you're just getting going, when you're just starting freelance writing, chances are that's all you're going to need. Also keep in mind, this is advice for people within the United States. If you're in a different country, then I'm sorry, I am not from that country and I don't know all of the ins and outs. Even here in the United States, I don't really know all the ins and outs, but I know enough to shoot this video. So there's pros and cons to being a sole proprietor. Some of the biggest pros are the fact that you can do it. It's just by default. You get started. You don't have to fill out any paperwork or do anything. However, the cons to doing that are you are personally liable for the business. So for instance, let's say you have a client and something goes wrong and they decide to sue you. Well, as a sole proprietor, they can go after you, after your personal assets. And that's generally not a good thing. The good news is it doesn't happen super often. You know, I haven't been too worried about getting sued in my business, but it is a little bit scary and it's something to think about. And chances are, if you're not making a ton of money, if you're just getting going, if you're just beginning, you're not gonna have to worry about that. So sole proprietor is just fine. Usually, I tell people once they get to the point where they're making $30,000 to $50,000 a year, so you've got kind of a real business, that's when you should consider actually formalizing your business. And for most people, that's gonna mean creating an LLC, a limited liability company. So creating an LLC can vary from super easy to kind of difficult depending on what state you're in. Here in Oregon, it's like $125. You fill out some forms, boom, away you go. In a state like California, it's a little bit more expensive and a little bit more work. But the good thing about creating an LLC is the fact it gives you what's called a corporate veil. So essentially, that's saying if somebody decides to sue you, if something happens, they can't go after you or your personal assets. They can only go after the business and the business assets. So if that freelance writing job goes down in a weird way, then all of a sudden they say, you know what, I'm gonna sue you. But you only got $10 in your business account, then your liability is relatively limited. They can't go after your house, they can't go after your car, they can't go after the family. And so that's one of the reasons why having an LLC as you grow your business can be beneficial. But I really want to reiterate this. If you are just getting started, you are a sole proprietor by default, and that is totally fine. Go with that. Don't let that be your reason for not getting started with the business. Don't let that be your hang up, because generally speaking, you don't need to do anything formal. You don't need business insurance. You don't need an LLC. You don't need all the formalities and all of the stuff. So the chances are when you're being paid as a contract worker and you're getting a 1099 at the end of the tax year, that's not going to have any withholding. They're not going to hold money for taxes, or they're not going to hold money for Social Security. So they're going to pay you everything you owe you. But then when you sit down to do your taxes, you won't have had any withholding like you might have at a typical day job. So you're going to be on the hook to pay all those taxes later on. So make sure that you're saving money for your taxes, because the last thing you want is to make all this money and think you're rich and then be like, oh, I haven't paid any taxes this year. I still have to do that. And then you have to pay self-employment taxes on top of that, which can, sometimes make it a little bit more expensive. So take all that for what it's worth. But the point of this video is sole proprietor, totally good. Partnership, totally good. LLC, great if you want to do that, but don't let that be your hang-up. You don't have to have an LLC. If you like this video, we got new videos every Monday and Thursday that are geared towards helping you, yes, you, build a business that lets you do all the stuff that you love in life. Quit that day job, go travel, spend time on your hobbies, all the stuff that makes living fun and the things we are working to do more of. Have a business that helps you support that and do more of those things. That's what we do here. Go to locationrebel.com/YT. We got a free 6-day course that's going to get you going down the right path to do all of those things as a freelance writer. And if you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. I love the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we got a new video. And we will see you on the next one. Have a fantastic day. Peace.